Hello there, wonderful people and beautiful tarot lovers that you all are. We have a new moon reading today, as it's the new moon today. Happy day, evening, wherever you might find yourself to be as you're watching this. And we've got a 4-card reading that I just did with my community group, and we've got 3 reverse cards and 1 popped up the right way. The first card that we have is this star reversed. We have, and we're going to look briefly at this card, but the second card, which is the only one that's the right way up, is the Page of Pentacles standing up. So let's look at this star reversed. So this star reversed is the energy of being completely visible and naked. So there's a nakedness that this figure represents as she is pouring her attention onto the earth and onto this collective consciousness, inner world, the watery collective consciousness. And she's surrounded by this big star and then 7 other stars as well. And it's the 1 and the 7, the 17, which makes 8. And this is the figure or the initiation inside of us, where we are so comfortable with being naturally honest with ourselves. In other words, we've attained a degree of inner honesty where we can observe ourselves with deeper clarity, when we have a complete when we feel uncovered, or we feel completely naked with our own perception. Now what this means is that we're not covered up with excess ideas of who we are, excess beliefs of who we are, and we've managed to strip ourselves of egotistical attachments to a certain degree, which allows us to feel naked. Not just to feel naked, which maybe in our daily lives, if we walk down the street naked, we feel quite vulnerable, and yeah, it would probably be illegal, but in that way that we would also be very seen, because we are not covered up in the same way that we're supposed to be covered up. And so the nakedness of this picture refers to us unrobing ourselves of ideas which we're supposed to have, which we ought to be covered up with, and we ought to buy into, and these beliefs about who we are that keep us restricted when it comes to how we can be a channel for the light. So the star is the biggest thing, and kind of like this massive star in this picture, and it represents a connection to universal divine guidance that only can come clearly through us as a channel. The light can only be reflected through us as a channel in that moment, or in those moments when we've taken away the limiting beliefs of who we think we are, and we can sit there naked and be the divine light, be a reflection of that light, of the universal light, of God's light, whatever you want to call it. This is who we are. This is who we've always been. It's who we always will be. There is no separation between us and this light, and yet we've made a separation. We've clothed ourselves full of all sorts of ideas that keep us separate from the divinity, which is our essence. So the star is where we have experienced so much depth of inner investigation, inner connection, to the degree where we've figured out who we're not. And we've learned to surrender who we're not, so that who we actually are can just shine. And in that moment, we become clear channels for divine energy to come through us. And this is the pouring of the waters onto the collective unconscious and the conscious earth around us. Because in the moment that we are not tainted by beliefs that limit the amount of truth, light, love that we can channel, we become a greater channel for that truth, love, light. This is a reversed card. And so there's a resistance. There's a resistance to being naked. The resistance maybe to taking our self-honesty to the next level. And we can ask ourselves, what is that resistance? Why am I resisting? Why do I not just want to be the light? Why am I resisting being that truth that I am? Why do I feel I need to cover myself up? Just because everybody else is doing it? Just because that's the way I fit in? There's an egolessness in the star, where our ego has definitely taken a big step in melting. And when I speak about our ego, I mean that which clothes the divinity, that individuality which separates us from the unity, and identifying with that individuality in a stronger way. There's been a surrender of that identity. We've surrendered identifying with the me. And this card is often reversed when there's a little bit of a resistance to surrendering, identifying with me, so that I can be more of me, basically. And that doesn't seem to make sense, but it makes all the sense in that our essence is not who we're manifesting half the time. Our truth is just a fraction of what we experience ourselves to be, is a fraction of the truth that we actually are. It's a fraction of the love that we can share. It's a fraction of the light that we can reflect into this world. And the clingy nature, or wanting to hold on to our identity, becomes part of the resistance of us being able to be more true and naked. It becomes, we're getting naked, but we're holding on to those underwear, the socks. Oh, I'm not taking the socks off. That's that one item of clothing that we've got to. And the star is asking, no, take it all off. You don't need it. It's not who you are. It's who you've been taught to believe you are. It's who you might be convinced you are, but it's not you. And there's a natural fear of losing me. And the star reversed might reflect back to us this idea of, hey, you can die in order to be reborn. You can let go in order to be more. The more you let go, the more you become. And that's, well, hang on a minute, the more I let go of myself, the less I become. Normally, no, the more you become, because the more you drop what is inhibiting your reflection of light, the more light can be reflected through you. And the page speaks about that openness. The page is just saying, hey, yeah, I know that. I'll say yes to that type of experience. Yeah. Say yes to what? Yeah, yes to surrender. Yes to letting go of your fears. Yes to taking those socks off. Yes to surrendering and being deeply honest to the degree which you've never been before. But if I'm really deeply honest with myself, I'm going to admit, I have to admit to myself that I'm not exactly where I actually am. I'm not exactly where I want to be. You're exactly where you need to be. always. We are always exactly where we need to be, and so to a degree we're always exactly where we want to be. But no, hang on a minute, I want to be somewhere different. No, we will always be exactly where we are energetically, where we energetically feel safest. And sometimes that's in a dark place, and sometimes that safety is an attachment to a darker version of ourselves. And it feels safe because it's known, and it feels safe because we've been there all the time, so we know it. It feels safe because we're not quite ready to let go. And yet the star says, yes, you are. You're really ready to let go. And the page is saying, yes, I am. I'm really ready to let go. The other two cards that came up reversed were these two that mirror and match each other so tremendously that they can't be read separate, really. The Lovers and the Two of Cups, both reversed. And if you have a look at these cards, the symbolism of the masculine and the feminine, here they're sharing cups. So here the masculine is looking at the feminine is looking at the divine. There's this winged figure here, it's the fiery lion, and here it's the sun the sun angelic figure, and there's a caduceus in between here. There's the abstract mountain of abstract thought in between, and there's even a little hillside here. The mirrors of these two cards are quite profound. They speak about an inner communication and an inner connection that creates such deeper levels of intimacy, including emotional intimacy that we have with ourselves, where we do not deny any of our feelings, where we share and exchange with ourselves deeper clarity about how we are, who we are, what's going on in our lives, when we're not afraid to be naked, when we're not afraid to share, to give and to receive equally, when we're having this inner conversation which is so profoundly intimate that it will normally attract into our lives an outer conversation with somebody in the world on the outside who will reflect back to us how, or the degree which we are willing to get intimate with ourselves. But these two cards are also reversed. It's as like the star and the Lovers reversed and the Two of Cups are just saying, hey, you're resisting a level of intimacy, a level of honesty. So what is that resistance? And this is a great question. Where is that resistance? What am I really afraid of? Why am I holding on to the fear? Why am I telling myself I'm not in the best exact place, even if life isn't exactly how I want it to be, or even if the world isn't really, around me isn't really reflecting back the beauty which I think I deserve? No, you're still in the perfect place. You're still in the right place. Yeah, but how can I be in the right place? I'm in this dark, sad, depressed, terrible. No, you're still in the right place. It doesn't mean that you need to stay there. It just means that what you are manifesting is vibrationally perfect for whatever reason. You might not understand the reason. That might give you confusion. It might give you doubt. It might give you a lot of pain, and it might bring up a whole bunch of fear. And if we feel the pain, the sadness and the doubt, if we feel all of those things and we conclude that means we must be in the wrong place, that's the wrong conclusion. The Page of Pentacles is actually the key to turning all of these cards around, because the Page of Pentacles is that little boy inside of us who says, yes, let's go. But hang on, we're having a dark time. We're having time. We're resisting being seen. We're afraid of surrender. We're afraid of letting go of what we need to let go. We're clinging to our identity. Hey, it's all perfect, the page says. Yes, 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 we're clinging to it. Let's have an experience of clinging to identity. Let's do it. Yeah, let's have an experience of really feeling our resistance. Why? How can that be good? because the experience of it is just an experience. If we are telling ourselves, or if we are resisting the experiences that we're having because they may be coloured in a slightly darker way, or they might be difficult, they might be traumatic, they might be challenging in some way or another, we are confusing a challenging time with that nothing good can come from it. We're making ourselves say this must be wrong, instead of, oh no, this is just part of the rightness. This is part of the journey. If a journey that we take is long enough, it's going to go into dark valleys and up to high hills. It's going to be full of rain and cold and sun and warmth, and it's going to have every aspect to it. It's going to have all the colours, and all the colours are valid. And the Page of Pentacles is that part of us that says, yeah, it's all valid. I say yes. I say yes to it all. Bring it on, bring it on. And whatever you're going through, first of all, tell yourself it's valid. The fastest way to embrace change and to bring ourselves through any challenging experience or any resistance in our life is to recognize that even in that resistance, we're in the right place. And telling yourself that we're in the right place is the fastest way to leave that place. Because it's only in the saying no to where we actually are that we will stagnate in that experience a little bit more. And even if we can foresee a brighter future, so how could we say no? How could we say yes to where we are? It's only in accepting where you are that life will bring us more things, more experiences for us to accept. So practicing acceptance, practicing saying yes to where we are, no matter what the colour, will reveal a journey that we're on that's taking us into a greater degree of nakedness, a greater degree of honest sharing, a greater degree of being able to be the channel for the light that we actually are. Much love on this new moon, in Pisces, and still in February 2025. And I wish you all a fantastic month. Plant as many wonderful seeds as you can these days in the Northern Hemisphere, at least, and may those seeds be ideas as well as maybe a few plants. Much love.